Right, everyone. So we are here for our feature focused training, which today is on workflows. I'm Danielle, and we also have Dea, our fabulous specialist for Automator, on in case there are any major questions. And we're going to dive right into it. So firstly, you might be asking yourself, what are workflows exactly? And I'm going to actually drop the PDF in here. For those of you watching the recording, it's going to be on the lower right-hand panel of your screen inside of Automator. And you can always watch these recordings under the Automator Training Vault. So yeah, we'll get into it. So workflows are basically the automated processes that happen behind the scenes. They provide a seamless experience for your customers. And if you've ever scheduled an appointment and you've gotten follow-up texts or emails or any of those types of things, that's what workflows do. And they can be called a lot of things depending on the CRM. But inside of Automator, they are called workflows. So I am going to just change my screen to show you guys a bunch of cool stuff here. So this is what it looks like inside of Automator. To get to your workflows, you're going to go to Automation and Workflows, and you'll see all workflows. Now, everyone should have 3 folders. One is lead follow-up, one is online sales, and one is administration. And these are basically pre-built workflows that we've made for you just for ease of use. And you can see inside of lead follow-up, we have our new lead incubator, and these are great for ongoing messages that you want to send to people. Some people call it your autoresponder. Any of your best stuff that you want everyone to kind of get, you can put in here. And we've also created it so you can stop and pause it and restart it at any time. And they won't get repeated messages, which is what this one does. So this will stop and pause all of your incubator emails. And then we also have appointment reminders, and we have appointment status if they've no-showed or canceled, and then video engagement. And you'll also notice we have put in here if they need edited or if you should just publish them. So just know that all of these are going to be in draft until you publish them, which means that they are active. So anytime you want to use one of these, you'll want to publish it. And if you want to keep it kind of as a standard template, you can always duplicate it and rename it so that you have the actual templates saved. So after lead follow-up, there is online sales. And this is if you're selling a physical product, things like that, or have affiliates. So you can do, if someone has purchased a product, you can edit this to your own product information. We also have abandoned cart, and that is if someone has maybe added something to their shopping cart and then they don't check out. That's what this one would be for. And then we also have affiliate program sign up, and this is if you're using the actual affiliate center inside of Automator, which we'll go over in a future training. But if you have affiliates, you would use that one. And then under administration, this is mostly just admin stuff. But we have contact us notification, which means that basically you get a notification if someone contacts you, and I'll just show you a preview of it. So they filled out a contact us form, and then they send an email, and then you receive a notification that someone wants to contact you. And then we also have incoming message notifications, so you can get a notification on any incoming message. And then we have general appointment reminders. So those are all of our pretty much pre-built workflows, and I'll show you what they look like, but I don't want anyone to get overwhelmed. Just know it will get easier with time. But we have under lead follow-up, your new lead incubator. Again, this is a pre-built one that we have made, and I'll go over what all the functions are for workflows in a moment. But basically, if you have some kind of trigger, these actions will run. So anytime you add the tag to anything else, any other workflow or any other processes, if you add the incubator start tag, it will push them into this sequence. And you can also add the incubator stop or pause tag at any time to remove them from this sequence. So you'll see on the left-hand side, all of the messages are going to be down here to the left, and any of the ones that we've made comments or suggestions on, you'll see a little bubble pop up right here, and you can see that we've added comments for you. So this one says include link used in the first email. So if you want to take those suggestions, you're more than welcome to. And then to edit any of these, you would just click on them, and you can see on this right-hand panel that pops up, you can go in here and put your own information. Just remember, we've used a lot of trigger tags, and these basically will pull in your user's information. So you probably won't want to mess with these, but if you do, it's just going to remove pulling in their actual name. So you can see it says, hey, subscriber's name. I'm not sure why that one's in there. We'll have to edit that, but you would just delete this if you didn't want it inside. And then you could just click save. So they're very easy to edit, but the only ones in Lead Incubator that you'll want to edit are these message ones, either text or emails. And let's say you weren't using text messages, you could just click this and you can actually click here and you could delete it. But make sure you only delete this action, not all of the actions, because it'll delete everything from here down. So that's just an example of one of our pre-built workflows. And you can see all of these lines are just things that pull people in and out and push them back into the sequence. But all of the messages, as I've mentioned, will be on this left-hand side here. So we will go back to workflows. And I will show you in terms of just building a new workflow. Let's say if you didn't want any of our pre-built workflows and you'd like to make your own, you are more than welcome to. I always suggest putting them inside of folders. Otherwise, they're just going to appear as random stuff like this. And you'll get many pages of them, which might be kind of hard to look through. You can always search through them by typing in a keyword and going from there. So we'll go to create workflow and we'll hit start from scratch. There are recipes in here, and these are kind of pre-built templates you can use and customize, but I generally find it easier just to start from scratch. So let's say we wanted to create a workflow, and you will see that every workflow starts with a trigger. So triggers are basically things that start an event, and then an action, which is here, is going to actually be what actions happen after the event is triggered. So you can see if you hit add new trigger, there's a lot of options here. Right? There's contact options. There's a lot of these, like if a tag was added, or if they put do not disturb, or if a contact was created, or if it's a birthday reminder, any of those things. There's also events, like call status, email events, a customer replied or submitted a form. And these are what are connected into the actual funnels. If you attended the funnel training, or if you need more information on that, you can go back to the previous training on funnels. But anytime you create a form on a page and you want some actions to happen after that, you would use form submitted. We also have trigger linked clicked. So if you've created trigger links inside your emails and you want to keep track of who has clicked on a URL or a link inside one of your emails, let's say you have a sales page and you want to send people messages if they've clicked to view your sales page, you could use trigger link clicked, which is pretty cool. And again, there's lots of options here. There's also appointments. So there's appointment status or a customer booked an appointment. And then there's opportunities. And not to get too deep into it, because I'm sure we'll go over this at some point too inside of our feature focused trainings, but opportunities are often referred to as well as pipelines. And it's just a pipeline that you can visually see where people are at. So if you want anything to go out to your customers or your audience, when an opportunity has changed or it's been created or any of those things, you can use that. And then we also have an affiliate one, one's for courses, one's for payments, Shopify, IVR, Facebook and Instagram events, and communities and certificates. So you have lots of options, but let's just make it very simple and say that anytime we get a new contact inside of our CRM, anytime there's a new contact, we want them to get a welcome message. So I'm going to use contact created, but I just want you to know, only use contact created if you literally want everyone you ever put into your CRM to get this message. If you don't, you probably will not want to use this as a trigger. But just for the sake of today's training, that's what we're going to use, pretending that anytime someone comes in here, we want them to get this. So I'm going to hit contact created, and it's going to say workflow trigger name. And you can label these if it's pertaining to something specific. I think contact created is pretty good enough, but let's say it was any contact. You just wanted a note for yourself. You could put that there. And then there's also filters, and filters will basically segment this for you if you'd like an additional kind of filter here, like, oh, if they have the tag of some sort, or if they have any of these other things, then you can actually segment more. But we're going to just do it for anyone that is added to our CRM. And that would be our trigger to make this start running. So you're going to hit save trigger. Oh, I have to delete that filter first, save trigger. And then you'll put the actions that you want to happen after this is triggered. So you'll just click on this. And the first thing I always like to tell people to do is assign this to a user. It's very important, even if you're the only person using your CRM, because once you get more of a team or you have multiple people using your CRM, it's important to put who is actually going to receive this information and who the emails are coming from. So we'll assign it to a user, and you can just replace who it is, assign it to me or your name, and then you just select a user here. And then you could actually toggle this on if you only want to apply it to people who haven't previously been assigned, but usually you'll just leave it as is. You can hit save. And then what do we want to happen next? Let's say we want to send an email. You would just put email, and you can put send email. Now from here again, you'll want to name the action, and I would call this email 1. Sometimes I even like to put the subject line in it, just in case I get a response to an email that says like, oh, the link wasn't working or something. You can actually search the subject line and change it very easily. But you're welcome to name it with your own naming conventions. So I'm going to say, thanks for joining. So let's pretend I want that to be the subject line. I would just put it right there so I can easily see which email is inside of this. Now you can put from email and from name, and I am the user assigned to this, so I would just put user. You can put first or full name. It's up to you. And then from email, again, you'll click this little ticket looking thing and go to user and click on email. And then the subject line is already put in. You could pull from a template if you have some saved. Like for us, we have a few saved inside of here, and it will just upload that template into this area. If you don't want to use a template and you want to actually write out your email, that is fine as well. And I would just put hi there. And to pull in the actual contact's name, you're going to click on this custom values ticket. Go to contact. You are the user. They are the contact. So go to contact and put first name. And now you'll see, hi there, contact first name. But when the person receives it, it will pull in their information. And I'm going to say, thanks for joining us. Thanks. And then if you want your information, you can click on custom values, go back to user, and I could put user full name or first name, whatever I wanted to pull in. And it will actually pull in that information for me. You can add an attachment. And then, of course, if you want to send yourself a test email, you could absolutely type in an email and actually get a test. So we will save that action. And then let's say 3 days later, we want to send another email. You can put in wait is our next action. And I would put wait 3 days under the action name so I know exactly what's inside of this action. And you'll see it's a time delay. We also have other delay things. You could do an event or appointment time or overdue or CRM events. There's lots and lots of options. But for the most time, you're going to use a time delay. So we will put days and we'll put 3. And we'll hit save action. And now maybe we want to send an SMS, which is also known as a text message. So if you have text messaging capabilities, you can add SMS in here as well. So we'll hit send SMS, and I'm going to say hello message. And you could choose again from a template. And I'll put hi. And again, you can use custom values to pull in your contact's first name. Thanks for joining us. Again, you could add attachments and you could test it on your phone number if you'd like to. Hit save actions, and that is how you build your own workflow. Now, of course, you want the naming conventions to be good so you remember what these are, but you would basically move this from draft to published and hit saved. All right, so now that that is saved, we have our workflow created. And let's say you want to actually use one of our pre-built ones and you'd like to customize it for yourself. So we're going to go ahead and go through this. Oh, last thing on that one that I had just made, you would want to test it. So you always want to test anything that you build. Mine's probably on this very last page here. You can hit this test workflow button and you can decide on which contact, if they're loaded in your CRM, which you should be loaded. You can put their name inside of here or your name, and then you just hit test and it will actually run a test and send all of these functions to you. Now, remember, we put a 3-day delay timer inside of here. So I would not receive this SMS for 3 days after this is sent. So if I wanted to get all the messages in a row and just see how they look going out to my audience or user, I could change this wait delay timer to be like, 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 1 minute or something like that. Run the test and then go back and change it back to the 3 days. So that's a really easy way to run the test and see what they look like when they're coming to your actual audience. So let's go into customizing a workflow. And let's say we want to customize our new lead incubator. I'm going to first duplicate this workflow because I want to leave that one just as a standard template, if you will. So I'm going to rename this and I'm going to say Danielle's welcome sequence. And I will delete the rest of this and hit create. Okay, so now we can see it right here. You're going to want to open this up. And you want to make sure it has the contact incubator start. That's what starts this. So let's say I had a few other funnels that I also wanted people to be sent into here after. Like let's say I had a webinar sign up funnel, right? And anytime someone signed up for my webinar, they got the emails for that. And then I wanted them to go into here, which is a longer autoresponder sequence. You could add the tag at the end of the other webinar sequence and add the tag incubator start, and it would push them into here after. So all of these workflows can actually communicate with each other if you would like them to. And then you can also put the stop incubator tag at the start of any of those funnels so that they are pulled out of this sequence and they're not getting all of those crazy emails all at once. I'm sure all of us have signed up to multiple things from people, and when you get all those crazy repetitive emails, it's very annoying. This one is built to actually push them in, and you can also pause it or stop it at any time. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is just make sure that this all looks good. The tag is great. That's what I want. And I can hit save filter or save trigger. If you wanted to add a filter and put extra stuff to filter out, you could by hitting adding filters, but we want to leave it just like this. And then you will see we have remove incubator start tag, and that's just to keep all the sequences in order. So don't worry about that one. And you're going to just go down on this left-hand side like I showed you before. And again, any of them with the comment bubbles have suggestions. Then you can view by clicking the 3 buttons and looking at the comment. This one doesn't have one. But we'll edit our first message by just clicking on it and going to the right and making sure we put in our from name if you haven't already, or if you're assigned as the user, it will likely default to you, but just in case, you can put your name and then make sure it's your email. Okay. And then let's say you wanted a different subject line. I would put, hey there. And then you can also change this to be your information that is for your branding, your verbiage, whatever you'd like, just by changing all this stuff. So we have an insert link to relevant content, maybe a welcome video or introduction post. So let's say I don't have a link and I don't want that in there. I'm just going to delete it. So you can make any changes like that. I could add an attachment, etc., just like I showed before, and I would save this action, and now it's ready to go. After that, we're going to scroll down and we have send another message. We could click here and make sure that this is exactly what we want in our text message. So I'm going to delete that part, and maybe I don't like these emojis, so I'm going to delete those too. And then we decided not to put a link, so I'm just going to put a quick hello. And then you have your first name, and it's going to pull in your business short name, whatever you put in your custom values. But let's say you didn't want a business name at all, you could just delete it. And then you'll hit save action. And then we'll go down some more to the third message and click here. Again, you could just change literally the verbiage in the email and so on and so forth, which I think you guys pretty much get. Now, this is where it gets a little fun. Let's say we go to all the way to the end of this sequence, and I'm like, I actually would really like it if I had another SMS and another email after here. You would go up to this one. Let's say I wanted everything from here down to be duplicated. I could hit copy, and I'm going to say copy all actions from here. And I can scroll down to the very last thing, and I'm going to go ahead and say, okay, well, I don't want that to be after it says that they've completed this. I want it to happen after this message here. So we want the tag sent email for, and then we want to copy it right below here. So what you could do from here is change after the last message your incubator tag. So you would add sent email 5 as a tag. So let's say I created incubator sent email 5 would be the new tag. You'd hit add new tag, and now it created that tag for you. And I'll change this one as well to 5 and hit save. So now we have our next one, and we have another message here that we'd want to go in and edit. So we'll call this maybe our 7th message. And you would change the text inside of here and hit save action. And again, you're going to change this to next message is email 5. You would update this to next message is email 5. and so on and so forth. So you can always add on to this entire flow if you would like to, just by clicking the plus button in the area you want. You can copy one email and have it added, or you can copy an entire sequence and add it. But remember, as you go down, you'll always want to test the workflow before you actually begin using it by hitting test and, again, selecting yourself as a contact and hitting run test. Now let's pretend we had ran this test already. I could go ahead and toggle this from draft to publish, and that's what makes it live and actually function. So now if I turn this on, anytime there is a tag added to any other funnel or sequence or anything like that, that says incubator start tag all the way at the top here, voila, this is going to run because now it's published and live. So after I hit publish, I have to save it. And now this workflow is completely live. Now let's say you wanted to see your statistics of everything going on in here. You can either hit stats view and you can see stats from an overview point of view, or you could go to enrollment history and see who the contact was, the date they enrolled in it, the current action they're in, the current status they're in, and the next execution that it's scheduled for. You could also view your execution logs by clicking here. You can look at your settings. And these are important because let's say once someone goes into this funnel once and they get pulled out, you don't want them to be able to enter it again. You could toggle this off. So this one allows re-entry because, again, we have that sequence built to stop and start this workflow at any point in time. So we want them to be able to re-enter this workflow. If you didn't, for some reason, you could toggle that off. We also have allow multiple opportunities, which allows a contact with multiple opportunities to enter the workflow as separate executions. Meaning, so if they have a distinct execution in the workflow, if you put allow multiple opportunities, they could be sent through this multiple times as well if you have opportunities that send them into here. You could also put stop on response, meaning if a contact responds to a message that's sent from this workflow, that it will stop all of the subsequent actions that you have inside of it. So just know that there's a lot of things you can also do inside of this workflow settings, but for the most part, the fancy stuff is inside the builder to kind of build and execute everything that you would want. So now that I have this one built and published, I would want to also make sure that I have this stop, pause, incubator published as well, because this is what will allow the function for any time you add the tag stop or start to actually pull them in and out of that. Now there's no editing needed on this one, so all I would do is draft it from draft to publish and hit save. And then from here, my incubator, Danielle's welcome sequence, is published. My stop pause incubator is published. And now I can pull people in and outside of that workflow at any time. So I think that is pretty much everything for our homework or action steps. We really recommend that you customize your workflow. And we recommend starting with the new lead incubator because it was built for all of your new contacts to easily go through a warm-up sequence. And we've built it so, as I've mentioned, you can stop and pause it at any time. So I've showed you guys how to customize that, but we want you to go ahead and play around with the workflow builder, have fun with it, get familiar with all of the actions and triggers involved. And let's just see if we had any questions go through at this point. And I'll switch my video back on. And yep, looks like we don't have any questions today. So just remember that all of these trainings will be inside the Automator Training Vault. We will also attach the PDF document with the step-by-step written instructions inside of there for you on the bottom right-hand side. And we will see you at the same time, same place next week for our next feature focused training. Thanks, guys.